My faculty enrichment grant was used to expand my love of understanding the scientist behind the science. Since my days in college, when I took a history of chemistry class my senior year, I've been fascinated with trying to understand the human behind the scientific discoveries that have shaped the world of science I study. I've read countless biographies and memoirs to try to get inside the life and minds of great scientists. This year I focused on Charles Darwin. The quote, "Nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution" by Theodosius Dobzhansky has informed my biology teaching since the very first day I started teaching. Darwin's ideas are the theme that run through all my classes, and in every class we always study the specifics. Over the years, I've found that immersing the class in a tour of Darwin's life, his tour of his global voyage on the Beagle, and the study of the science that impacted Darwin's education, brings a necessary context to how he came up with such a universal and quite simple idea. Species change over time, and the species with the best characteristics for their environment will survive. I've read and watched numerous biographies about Darwin and was awed by the fact that I could walk through the estate where he did his life's work. Darwin's family home in Down, England, is very close to London. A commuter train ride followed by a local bus ride dropped me off close to his home. After a beautiful walk through the countryside, I arrived at Down House. The home is a national landmark for England, and the lower floor is preserved as a Darwin family knew it in the mid-1800s. A walk through allowed me to experience the family dining room, complete with china painted with beautiful botanical images. Paintings of Darwin and his family adorn the walls. In the corners were various desks and notebooks where Darwin himself recorded the weather patterns. The most intense room was his study. The bookcases were lined with Darwin's very own, well-worn copies of books that influenced him. In the same room I could see work tables set up with some of the specimens Darwin studied. In addition to the inside, here, the grounds of the house were very powerful. Darwin raised his family here, and on the patio and gardens they were established for his family life. Further on, I walked through his extensive garden and then his potting shed. Darwin wrote a book about carnivorous plants, and I was able to walk through the greenhouse where he cultivated the plants he studied. More pictures of the potting shed and the greenhouse. The most moving part of the grounds tour may seem the simplest. On the boundaries of the grounds was the sand path. This was the path where Darwin would walk laps daily as he pondered his experiments or planned his writing. It's a gravel path, and Darwin would kick a pebble on the side in one spot to keep track of his laps. To be able to walk on the same path as Darwin in similar quiet solitude was moving and inspirational. Serendipity, or the unexpected discovery, is at the heart of many scientific discoveries. In fact, the culmination of my PhD thesis was the unexpected discovery that the gene I cloned, and that my lab had hoped would be the missing piece in an immunological question, was instead the sequence of a gene that eluded another group of scientists for many years. I inadvertently propelled their line of research while closing a chapter on my own. In a similar vein, my trip to experience Darwin's home allowed for several powerful serendipitous experiences. While riding the tube all over London, I spotted billboards advertising the opening of the Wellcome Trust's Brain exhibition. To my delight, the new exhibit was an amazing tour through artifacts and ideas that I'd been studying and presenting in my honors neuroscience class. I walked through the exhibit with chills down my spine as I saw original drawings and neurons by Ramon y Cajal and preserved pieces of brain, even that of Albert Einstein. Another unexpected connection was when I stopped in front of part of the exhibit that showed the work of Dr. Jacobo Anisi of UCSD. Our neuro class studied his work preserving and sectioning the famous amnesic HM, and we were scheduled to tour the lab just days after my return from London. It was a delight to tell Dr. Anisi that I saw his work showcased in London. On a less scientific note, the trip to London allowed me to tour a tremendous number of museums. Delightfully, all the museums are free, so I poked into as many as I could fit into the trip. from the National History Museum to see the Darwin Center and tour the Cocoon, to nearly every art museum in town. I explored my love of Impressionist art at the Courtauld Collection, then marched through history at the Tate Modern, the Tate Britain, the National Gallery, the National Portrait Gallery, and the Victoria and Albert Museum, to name a few. I am deeply grateful for the faculty enrichment grant. I explored places I normally wouldn't get to and was inspired to share the perspective I gained with my students. I know this trip will forever impact my teaching.